folks. Welcome once again to the Shortfall Show. My name is David, and I'm happy to have you here today. As far as the VIX, we're coming up on expiration, or actually, this is what I really want to talk to you about is we want to try to provide moving forward more transparency on expiration in the VIX, and I'm working now to provide some access for next expiration. Hopefully we can get it going so that we can actually watch as closely as we can live the actual expiration of the and the settlement of the futures based on the the marking of options in the SPX, and so that could be very exciting. If we look today at the action, there really is not a whole lot of crazy action going on as we had last month. Things seem to be relatively calm in VIX world. If we look right now, VIX up 9 cents. So that's a little bit better than last time when things were going absolutely nuts. So I wanted to mention also that we had a great interview yesterday with Andrew G. and Vance Harwood, which I'm just putting the final touches on editing today. Now remember, folks, that I'm relatively new at this, and this is the first interview I've ever done with in this format with two people joining me. So very exciting landmark for the show. However, what it did teach me was it's harder than it looks on TV, and I wasn't 100% satisfied with the results, but I always feel that way when something a live interview goes. But you only have one shot at it, and you got to make it work. So we did have a lot of fun, and there was some very interesting stuff said by both of my guests. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming up in the next sometime a little bit later today. I'm just working on trying to kind of polish it a little bit as far as graphics and that sort of thing. Looking at the VIX term structure now, very flat. Flatter than it was before. We kind of anticipated that. What I can say about yesterday, however, is that the things with a market, a down day and the VIX up. I think the VIX was up as much as 2 points at one time. I think it got up a little, just slightly over 15. And I'm just trying to make myself smaller here. And even with that happening, the term structure, kind of stayed intact as far as remaining in Contango and remaining with that upward slope. Eli Mintz has been kind to take off the front month on this chart here, so you do see the new front month now being June, and then the second month being July, and a little flatter than it was. However, with the up move, the shape did stay intact. I think it was like around 4% yesterday before the up move in the VIX Contango, and now I'm showing 2.6% with this just slightly delayed. So, flattening out a little bit, but still intact. If I press the Y button, it looks even flatter, of course. So today we had some numbers coming out. Let's take a look at barchart.com and check in with our friend Nick. And Nick's calling for neutral bias today, and right now it is 8:12, but we're expecting 8:30 business permits. Housing starts at 8:30, and FOMC member Bostic speaking at 8:30. We also have capacity utilization rates at 9:15, industrial production at 9:15, and crude oil inventories at 10:30 today. The markets overnight were pretty mellow, I would say. I was listening to Nick's commentary this morning on. Nick also has a YouTube channel, which I will put a link to down in the description. And I was listening to that this morning, and when you have stuff that's just marginally changing, it's hard to really get a read on things. And I think that is part of why he sort of had a neutral bias. But we did have sort of it's just a slight downside bias before with gold up and the major indices down slightly. Now gold down, indices down, and but not much going on. Just kind of stuff, just kind of hanging in there. And with not much going on, I like it because that would tend to mean that maybe that little mini move in the VIX yesterday will just kind of peter out as the day goes on. And remember that with the term structure now, we do still have 50 cents between the VIX, 55 cents, I guess, between the VIX and the M1 future. Now, an average expiration, that spread between spot and M1, the new M1, would be larger than 50 cents. It would be generally somewhere between $1 and $2.50. So, term structure definitely showing the residual of an up move in the VIX yesterday. However, behaving relatively well. This is sort of like normal behavior now. We're kind of like back to normal. As Andrew was mentioning yesterday when I talked to him, these are the markets we like to trade. Stuff's moving around a little bit. It's not clear if we're going to go. If the market's going to continue to sell off, and we might even flatten out more in the term structure, or even possibly go into backwardation, or does the rally continue today and we stretch the term structure out and go back into Contango? So it's a trader's market. There's people lining up on both sides, and indeed, when you go into the stock twits today, I was looking, the VIX bulls are back out and talking smack as we got a day for the long VIX guys yesterday. So they're back out in force, and hope springs eternal for the long VIX trade. It's interesting to watch how on a down day the shorts are out there. I'm saying a down day in UVXY, the shorts are out there in force, and you get an up day and the longs come in. So stock twits can be a fun place to kind of be amused about what's going on, because you see the smack talkers and trash talkers coming out and going after one another. For a more considered approach and more data-based approach, and a more of a discussion and a collaborative effort, I like to go to the VIX Facebook group. Let's take a look at that real quick here, and see what we've got going on today there. So let's see, volatility trading group. A discussion about the expense ratios for VIX ETPs, and somebody had a good point that like every time you do trade a TVIX, you are paying expenses to the administrator of that. That would be I believe Velocity shares for that one. Happy to see Michael Listman back with some trade ideas. The short, with the term structure kind of coming back a little bit, the short vol trade is back in effect, and a lot of the players that were out there contributing on Twitter and stock twits and in Facebook are back out there giving their ideas and explaining to others what's going on. I did do an interview with Sal on the American Investor show 2 days ago, and he was mentioning to me that there was a period of time when a lot of people were trading TVIX, and you weren't getting penalized for getting long TVIX. By that I mean you could get long TVIX, and you could just buy some TVIX and hang out for, that tweet or that down day after a couple of days, and you could make some nice money. But now with the term structure in Contango, you buy a little TVIX, and it's just going to slowly melt downward, and so you got to get that. You got to time it right to get that up day. Otherwise, you're just going to bleed until you do get that up day. So, interesting commentary. We all have a very short memory, or not we all, but many people have a very short memory as far as the market goes. And some people who kind of just started trading TVIX 2 months ago were having a great time, buying some, waiting for that tweet or whatnot, and being able to scalp back and forth, in and out. And some people got caught sort of holding the bag as the term structure came back in. So be wary. Look at the term structure before you make these trades. Educate yourself. That's all I can really recommend to you. There have been a couple articles on. I would suggest also another resource that I use a lot is Seeking Alpha. So go check out Seeking Alpha. Type in your underlyings, your UVXY, your VXX, or just type in volatility in the VIX and pull up the articles, because there is a range of viewpoints there. And what I find one of the most interesting things about Seeking Alpha is the comment section of all of these articles. So you may not agree with the article, but you might find some juicy little pieces of knowledge in the comment section. That's often the case. Plug my buddy Balance a Trade for his almost daily newsletters on the VIX, and his great comment section as well, where there's always interesting things. Let's take a look at his latest here. Spot VIX rebounds as stocks slide on higher yields. So this is from yesterday or today. Yeah, this just came out like an hour ago, and talking about how Treasury yields contributing to the down day yesterday, and talking about the term structure and how the term structure tends to dampen the effect of a VIX pop on UVXY. So check that out, and I hope you have a good trading day today. I do promise to get that video of my conversation with Vance and Andrew out to you as soon as possible, because it's kind of like a time sensitive interview, because it's about expiration, and expiration has just occurred. So I want to get that out to you as quick as possible. Oh my. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.